Hey everybody, how you doing? I wanted to make this live stream to share with you some observations that I have in the wake of uh, everybody's been gathering information. I got a note here from Raider Gans. I was exchanging texts with a friend of mine who also covers the league. I was watching tweets, and then I was gonna go back and look at the interview that we all did with Oakland Raiders head coach Jon Gruden at the NFL annual meeting because Aditi Kinkhabwala said that Gruden told her at that same annual meeting, and I don't want to mispronounce Aditi's name because it's quite pretty, but it is Aditi Kinkhabwala, and I'd like to hear her pronounce it, but I digress. Uh, she said on the NFL Network today about 30 minutes ago or so that Gruden, about 3:03 p.m. Today, about over an hour ago, that Gruden told her that he would basically put a hard line or heavy line on Brown. And I don't remember that conversation coming down because I was sitting there, but it's quite possible she has more access than I do because she's with the league to him, that they had that conversation at another moment. Maybe they had the conversation. I didn't see him at the NFL annual meeting dinner. It doesn't mean he wasn't there. I saw his brother Jay Gruden. Hey, how you doing, Greater Gans? I saw his brother Jay Gruden, right? But let me cut to the point. If what I was told was true, and what I read was true, that Mike Mayock rolled up on Antonio Brown at practice to confront, when you roll up to someone, you're confronting them, okay? And, all right? And when you roll up on someone, you're confronting them. That's the understanding, that's the use of the term. So I understand that Mike Mayock rolled up. I understand that Mike Mayock rolled up on Antonio Brown at practice. In other words, around other people. Okay, even if they're at a distance, it's still around other people. And expressed his lack of, shall we say, enjoyment, or the fact that Brown took his letter and put it up there for everybody to see on Instagram. All right? You don't roll up on a man who's already expressed that he's unhappy about it. You don't do that. It's adding salt to the wound. It's adding insult to injury. It is teasing a person and taunting them and daring them to say something back to you because you're the general manager and you feel like you have all the power and basically can cut him anytime you want to. That's what it looks like. Okay. That's what it looks like. Look, I told a friend of mine, politics is everywhere. That's what it looks like. Okay. And I'm going to get your comments because I want this to be a rolling discussion. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I do have an opinion. If Mike Mayock was found to actually have rolled up on Antonio Brown like that, then Mike should be fired. Or at the very least, they should basically rescind the fines and just simply try to start all over. And I don't mean in terms of releasing anybody, but you say, hey, you know what, let's just let this go by, all right? And get back to the matter of playing football. And I say this for a particularly focused business reason. Antonio Brown, if worked with correctly, means millions of dollars to the Raiders. He is a social media king. And so you're going to go and blow that? There is a reason why the Raiders gave Antonio Brown so much exposure. There's a reason why the Raiders, you know what the Raiders do? The Raiders will make a video for Brown using their fonts and their photographers and everybody else, right? And give it to Brown's people and have Brown upload it on his YouTube channel, not the Raiders' YouTube channel, because they know people are going to react to it faster. All right? So don't tell me that the Raiders have no use for Brown or no understanding of Brown's importance from a marketing perspective. They do. And so you're going to have this man, your general manager, blow that away because he's got some big ego that says, I have to keep somebody in line? That's stupid. That's straight out stupid. Al Davis would never, I'm saving Amy from this, because I know when Amy Trask, the former Raiders CEO, Amy Trask knows doggone well that the Raiders under her and Mr. Davis would have never handled this situation like this. Al was about his players first and foremost. Al Davis was not about showing his ego before players. Now, for those of you who mentioned Marcus Allen, that was a different situation with Marcus and OJ and everything. And there's a lot to that stuff that, frankly speaking, comes up. And there are certain people to this day that are upset that Marcus Allen was involved with Ronnie Lott in trying to put together that deal to keep the Raiders in Oakland. I mean, you have no idea how many Raider fans are like, what is he doing here? Okay? That's another story. But the point is, that's the only one. You can look back through Raider history. Warren Wells, who unfortunately went to jail, not because of the Raiders or anything, but the Raiders were his savior. I can point to a number of examples of players that came from marginal backgrounds who are black that came into the Raiders and basically remade themselves under Al Davis. All right? Having that tradition in place, it is irresponsible for Mike Mayock to walk in and think, hey, look, I'm going to establish my way. No, you established the Raider way. There was no reason at all, none, for the Raiders to have discipline apply or any of this crap because one of you out there thinks, I've got to set these black people straight. BS. If you think that, go to a psych ward. I mean, I don't believe this. Sorry, Raider Gans. All right, here's the point. Raider Gans says, I made it. And then Joseph Amendola asks, hey, Joseph, where's your live stream, man? You could do a live stream about this stuff. If you differ with me, fine. That's America. But I digress. Joseph says, is it possible that Mayock's inexperience is unnecessarily causing a rift between AB and Raiders organization? Gruden and players seem to be all in on AB. Yeah, it is. It's more than Mike's inexperience. Mike's got this kind of race, I call it a racial rub, okay? And this has come up before in a number of different instances in different ways. And there are people that work with Mike today that as of today agree with what I'm saying. And I cannot say who they are, okay? I cannot say who they are. But when I say work with them, I don't mean work with them at the Raiders. I mean work with them at the NFL Network, okay? All right? Mike's got an issue with the demonstrative black person. And he's got an issue with anybody black who steps outside of lines of where he thinks that person should be. And Mike comes off that way. Maybe he doesn't mean to, but he does. This has been going on for a long time, folks. Okay? I mean, a long time. I have a video, all right, of me interviewing Mike at the 2008 NFL Draft. The Chelsea Peers is right here on Zenny 62 on YouTube that you all can look at right now. And Mike's listening, and as my mom points out, at least he gave you the interview. And I was saying, well, Mom, it's his reaction. Because I got to a point, I said, what I was trying to ask him was his opinion, which I did get regarding the college game, passing game being more complicated than the NFL, which really it is. And even high school. And what happens, the old days, the NFL strategy used to percolate down to high school and college, and now it's the reverse. And there's a reason for that. But Mike instead took it the wrong way and said, well, there's more time to work on a passing strategy at the pros. That's not the point. You can work on something very simple. Just because you have more time to work on it doesn't make it more complicated. Okay? He took it really simply, but I was just listening. But Mike is, his expressions are kind of like rolling his eyes, and then he saw something. This is all on camera, folks. He saw something, and he goes, what did you say? Say that again? All right? And that's the kind of thing that some people do when they're trying to put you down. And again, maybe he doesn't mean it that way, but look, I've been around. That's how it comes off. When someone is trying to dismiss you or discredit you and you're the reporter asking the questions, they'll say, what did you say? And they'll keep asking that just to bug you, to help that you say something wrong. For those of you out there who are in that position, just stay on your game. Just simply repeat your question. Do not get upset. But Mayock was doing that to me. And that's why I have never approached Mike for an interview since then, ever. I'll go to the NFL Draft. Mike Mayock's table's over here. I go over there. All right? And then let's not forget, this was the same Mike Mayock who said that Cam Newton didn't have a heart. He said that at Auburn. All right? Deion Sanders basically came out of his skin and said, you know, you don't say that about a man, but he did that. Okay? I can give you example after example. How about Lindsey Rhodes? When Mike Mayock and Lindsey Rhodes were at the practice, the pro day for Marcus Mariota, and Lindsey Rhodes is asking questions and everything, but Mike is actually belittling her, treating her like, oh, this cute little girl, sort of. On camera. I made a video about it. You can see that right here on Zenny62. And I complained, and Lindsay liked this so much that when she saw me at Mike Silver's party, Super Bowl party at Henry's for Super Bowl 50, she thanked me like that with a wink. And I've seen her subsequent to that, all right? So my point is that you cannot get out of this place of thinking about a person a certain way and expect that it's going to, or go out and think, okay, I'm going to treat them and make everybody toe the line and all that. That's not the Raider way. If you think that's the Raider way, you don't know the Raiders. That's never been that wasn't even the problem this time. Okay, now I'll get your comments. Okay, Raider Gans, said, so I heard from a couple of players about the Mayock incident. I can confirm Mayock was extremely unprofessional. See? Wow. Okay, so there it is. Fire him, okay? Raider Gans says, Gruden also does not like how Mayock is dealing with the players. There you go. Mike Johnson says, I completely agree. Thank you, Raider Gans, all right? I'm hearing that from people, okay? Jay Black says, so where's Coach Gruden on this situation? I thought he had major pull in the front office. Well, it's not that he doesn't have any pull, but what he's trying to do is, I mean, some people call it good cop, bad cop. I don't read it that way, okay, at all. The way I read it is simply that Jon is trying to keep the focus on football, all right, okay? And so, all right, so Mike Johnson, all right, Jay Black says, Oakland Raiders says, Mike Johnson says, yes, he does. Mike Johnson says, worst hire in Raider history, Mike Mayock. Oakland Raiders says, many people have that issue with celebrations too. I always thought it was based in racism. Mike Johnson says, Antonio Brown spends millions to stay in peak physical health. Raider Gans says, keep in mind, everyone, Mike is a rookie and still does not have Mark's full trust. He values Gruden a whole heck of a lot more than Mayock. Mike Johnson says, Mike Mayock has trashed the Raiders for years on TV. Joe Weinstein says, utter nonsense and sour grapes. I have no idea what he's talking about. He's also new here. The Truth says Gruden should be fired. The Truth says AB should be released. Joseph Amandura says, furthermore, Raider reporter Paul Gutierrez contradicts reports that AB threatened Mayock. Went on to say that after catching a car pass, he chucked the ball away from practice field. The Truth says Carr should demand a trade. Truth is all over the place here. Arden Soul says cameras were rolling. Enough said. Okay. What did they show? I mean, I want to see that. Mordecai says, did AB really unfollow the Raiders and Derek Carr? You mean just now on Instagram or Twitter? If he, well, that's a clue. If he did, that's news in this world. That's news in and of itself. Let's go check Twitter. All right. And Chuchu says Raiders' best move is the tank. All right. And so Mike Silver, my buddy, says that he asked, will Antonio Brown ever play a down for the Raiders? He says, don't bet on it. My thoughts as voiced earlier on NFL Network. And let me hear what Mike had to say here.
Clearly had issues with being fined, dropping words like devil and his social media.
Let me see here. I'm trying to, what I'm doing right now, folks, is I'm getting the...
I think the Raiders have gone through several stages on this.
I'm getting the...
decision makers, Jon Gruden,
trying to get the right cord to hook this up to my computer so I can so that you can hear what I'm hearing clearly regarding Mike's comments on NFL Network just a few minutes ago, okay? And one second. Here.
I cannot see
at this point being salvageable. This is a situation.
All right,
Andrew, Ian is absolutely right. There was an incident that happened yesterday on the practice field in full view of a lot of people, and players were involved. And, you can imagine, we know Mike Mayock from NFL Network. He's a very blunt, headstrong guy. Antonio Brown clearly had issues with being fined, dropping words like devil in his social media post and posting the fine letters. And, I think the Raiders have gone through several stages on this. And by the Raiders, I mean the Raiders decision makers, Jon Gruden and Mike Mayock. It started with, wow, this guy's a little out there, but we can manage it. Then it was, we have a problem, but if we're really, really nice to him and we just tell him we're on his side, he'll be okay. Then what the good cop, bad cop route with Mike Mayock obviously playing the bad cop. But I cannot see this at this point being salvageable. This is a situation where you have one player adhering to a completely different set of rules in multiple areas, and you're trying to run an operation. And I would just, ask people to extrapolate this to their work situation. Imagine just deciding to leave, going AWOL, and then not telling your employer, coming back, getting disciplined for it, going public with a rant, and then apparently having a confrontation with the manager in full view of other employees. It's not a very good situation. And look at the Raiders' history for decades. You think they'll go after the money? I think it's a pretty good bet that if this degenerates the way I think it will, they will absolutely try to get every dollar back that they can from Antonio.
Yeah, so, you heard it from Mike, and I think it presents a challenge for Gruden. And the question is, how does he handle it, okay? I think that for the Raiders to let Antonio Brown go would be an admission that they didn't understand what they were doing. And it would be an admission that the organization failed, okay? It doesn't matter that you say no other team will touch AB. That doesn't matter. The point is that you as an organization were not able to do what the Steelers did for 9 years. Let me remind everybody of this. Antonio Brown asked to be traded from the Steelers. The Steelers granted him his wish. Antonio Brown did not ask to be let go of the Raiders. He did not ask to be jettisoned from the Raiders. Okay? And look, he's been fined a lot on the Steelers too. Let's see. Someone mentioned that whole matter of oh boy, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Oh boy. Okay, I might have to start this over again. I probably should not have used that when with hold on a second. Let's see here. Maybe I shouldn't have used that one. I didn't mean to. But let's see what happened. Oh, okay. Heads up. Let's see what's happening with the stream. And all right. What happened was I don't need that. Okay. Let's see here. Live. Let's see what's going on here. Still going. All right. Okay. I'm just going to go play through because I think YouTube has this algorithm, and I guess they were thinking, oh, it's a copyright issue, and I'm playing through with a stream. I should have probably thought that was going to happen, but it's still, my stream's still going. Oh, it's limited or no ads. Okay, that's fine. It's fully playable. All right, that's fine. Whatever. That's cool. Okay. At any rate, here's my point. We're cool. What happened was that there's these really weird kind of things. All right, let me get back to your commentary here. All right. Marcus Jackson says, like Kyrie in Boston. Jordan Yancey says Mike Mayock should keep it keep it in house. The Geek Freak says Mayock was never qualified to be a GM in the first place. He was an average draft guru. Jackson says he was used for our draft picks. Chi Exy says fire Mayock. Marcus Jackson says, we need that insight and scout team. She says, Antonio Brown for president. Love it. And then Marcus Jackson says, no, excuse me, we act like people don't argue. Yeah, I know. People have arguments, you know. Ricardo says he didn't ask to be let go. He brought it up on himself. No. He asked to be let go of the Steelers. And I argue in the case of the Raiders, he didn't bring it up on himself. That was Mike Mayock's choice to handle that way. All right? Let's not get carried away here. Mike could have kept everything in-house. For example, he didn't have to come out and say to the media and to us on social media. Remember, the Raiders took that video, posted it on their website, and then trumpeted it out multiple times for people to see, okay? They used that video that Mayock made on that Sunday practice as a setup for Hard Knocks. I keep saying Hard Knocks training camp with the Oakland Raiders, okay? They used that. And so don't give me this stuff about, oh, he brought it up on himself. That was how Mike Mayock chose to handle it. I said it from the onset. He should have kept it on in-house. He did not do so, okay? He did not do so. Cowboy Rush says, "What I'm sorry, Z, but AB is nothing but trouble." What kind of trouble? All right? A person is only trouble if you make trouble for them. He didn't make trouble for the Raiders. He had a very legitimate issue regarding his helmet. His helmet, if you've ever played football, I respect your opinion too as a Cowboy Wrestler, but I'm saying this. If you play football, you know, particularly if you want to be at the top of your game, that your equipment, and I've been an equipment manager in high school, I understand. Players are really funny about what they wear, okay? This isn't a diva issue. This is a matter of working conditions, all right? This is a matter of working conditions. So you're not going to respect the man's working conditions and get him the helmet that he needs? Are you crazy? Of course you're going to. Unless, of course, you're the Raiders. And then you make it this whole diva thing. Well, he's a diva complaining about his helmet. Someone says, well, other players don't complain. But look, on the other hand, other players don't have the statistical production that he does. All right? The guy is a monster catching the ball. All right? He is just like any other great person at whatever they do. He's a little eccentric. Okay? Fine. You want to get the best out of him? You figure out how to work with that, and you move forward. Amy Trask would have done that. Al Davis would have done that. Okay? So I don't want to hear this stuff about, oh, he needs to be disciplined. Why? Because you guys feel like, well, an organization should be ran a certain way. You know what? The folk, I'm going to be blunt with you. You all talking about how organizations should be ran have never ran an organization. You have to make exceptions for people in every walk of life based on circumstance. If you can't do that, you're not a good manager. Period. End of story. Period. End of story. You make exceptions for people. That's part of life. Thank you, Marcus. That's fact. That's part of life. You can't do that. You don't deserve to run anything. You don't deserve to run even your own family. Okay? Period. You make, a number of you who say this are also family people. You know what I'm talking about. You make exceptions for your kids all the time. You make exceptions for your wife. You make exceptions for your husband. You make exceptions. It's called, you know what it's called? Learning to get along. That's what it's called. It's called learning to get along. All right? Okay? I mean, so, you know, yeah, the helmet issue is a legitimate claim. So the guy gets upset. He wants to run off. And he's looking, and see, on top of that, Antonio is looking to rebound from a situation in Pittsburgh where he feels that he was treated unfairly. Let's escape for the moment whether or not he was. That's how he reads it. Okay? If you are the Raiders and you chose to bring him in, and they did, then you have to deal with the consequences of what you're getting. And you have to have a hybrid. Let me just go back to your comments, because I could. Obviously, I'm on a roll here, but I want to get your comments as well. Kango says AB can do whatever he wants. Cowboy Wrestler says, I'm sorry, Z. Raider Gann says, Gruden and Mayock went at it apparently. Ooh, this is Raider Gann saying Gruden and Mayock apparently went at it. Raider Gann says, I'm still trying to get more details. Gruden needs to fire Mayock. Pure and simple. Okay? That's all right. Either that or they just, all right. But, or maybe just do nothing and let it blow over. All right? Maybe that's the best course of action. Actually do nothing. But Marcus Jackson says, like I said, AB will be playing on the Monday night. I hope so. The Geek Freak says, the real question is, how long will his suspension be, and will they cut him before or after week 1? I hope they don't do anything. This one says, I can't pronounce it, says, let AB do whatever he wants. The truth says, Belichick couldn't keep AB straight. This guy doesn't show up for a walkthrough. I don't know what that situation was about, but look, Belichick had to let Josh Gordon go, got him back. Had to let Josh Gordon go, got him back again. Think about it. I mean, people are willing to figure out how to meet you in the middle if they're adults. Cheese says Derek Carr needs AB on 3rd downs. Facts. Needs him on 1st down too. The truth says Al Davis sat Marcus Allen. Yeah, but the truth, you didn't hear what I said about Marcus Allen. You must have come in late. All right? That's a whole nother situation. And it has to do with OJ, his wife, and a number of things. So I was waiting for somebody to bring that up, but obviously you didn't hear what I said when you and came in later. But I had just set that up for somebody to blast that out. That's not even the same situation. Marcus Jackson says, nobody likes the Raiders, and I'm okay with that. That's why I'm a fan. So Davis would have slapped Mayock. Tell you about Al. Marcus Jackson says, facts. Cowboy Ref says, for the record, I was with him on the helmet issue. That's a legitimate claim. The Geek Freak says, this team had 3 first-round picks, and no one mentioned their progress as players because of this AB drama. But that's the Raiders' fault, okay? The Raiders put him out there front and center. Again, Mayock could have handled this back channel. He didn't. Mayock was the one who informed us all that he wasn't at practice. They could have handled it the way the Falcons would have handled it in Thomas Dimitroff as GM. Keep it in-house, okay? As much as the media here tries to bring stuff out and make it seem like there's a rift between Julio Jones and the Falcons, and there's not, the Falcons wisely keep it in-house. They have the same party line. They don't trot anybody out to make these sensational statements. They're professional about it in a way that I would wish the Raiders were. Pure and simple, okay? The truth says exceptions for a man with $30 million upfront who won't follow basic team rules. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Sorry, but that's the way it is. You're right. And not only that, you know why I push that? Because then you have the ambition to reach that level where people will change the rules for you. Okay? Otherwise, why have ambition? Why want to be anything if you don't get to enjoy the fruits of being the best at whatever it is you're at? That's life. People make adjustments. People are super talented all the time. Stop. Listen, you hear that? That's somebody making an adjustment right now. All right? That's life, man. Not everybody gets the same shake. Okay? There should not be racism, for example. There should not be sexism. But on the other hand, we have levels to society in terms of talent. That thing that people wanted to install called a meritocracy, right? So let me get this straight. When you have somebody that's really, really good, you want to have the same rules for them. Not understanding the specific circumstances under which that rule might be activated. And not being intelligent enough to say, you know what? Because intelligence will cut off emotion if you allow it to, which is what should happen. You should say, you know what? Hey, I'm not going to let this get in the way. All right, back to your comments, not mine. Okay, Geek Freak says, right, got that one. Marcus Jackson says, Mayock has to control his emotions like I do with my kids. Well said. The truth says, exceptions for a man with 30 minutes. Yeah, I said that already. Cowboy says, I agree, they knew what they were getting. Oakland Ron says, AB is like a kid. Raider Gann says, a lot of good, respectful dialogue here. Much appreciated. Thank you. Pedro Gallardo. Nice to see you. Pedro says, suspending AB isn't going to help matters. Time heals everything. Ding. Raider Gann says, Pedro, time don't heal 30 million in concussions. Joseph Amendola says, communication is key factor. One of the best things I did was take an interpersonal communications class. By the way, did you hear Steve Young's comments? No, I did not. Would you please offer them? Cowboy Russell says, listen, if Mike Mayock tried to get a reaction from Brown, yes, Mayock needs to be removed. Right now, we don't know. But see, what I'm explaining is, I got to choke my motor here because I don't know if Mike did that to get a reaction. But on the other hand, if you're going to roll up on somebody that posted something that's emotional, what are you going to get but a reaction? Just saying, okay? So then, Marcus Jackson says, Gruden is playing AB on Monday. The Truth says, drug addiction is different from the new diva addiction. Cowboy Russell says, that Marcus Allen's situation was a whole different from this. Ding! The Truth says, Marcus, AB won't be able to play it down for the Raiders. Watch and see. Nigo says, true, Al would slap Mike. Marcus Jackson says, Gruden would use AB for 1 year like he did with Keyshawn Johnson. Cowboy Rush says, the irony. Vontez Burfict holding Antonio Brown back. Wow. Marcus Jackson, see, that's off the field. The on-the-field stuff was different. The on-the-field, he was, playing football. Marcus Jackson says, if Gruden is on AB's side, AB will play on Monday. The Truth says, nice chatting with y'all. I hope AB stays with the Raiders. We'll make for a lot of laughs for everyone watching on. Jake the Impaler says, Raiders should suspend him long enough to void his contract and maybe move on. So says Jake the Impaler. D. Brown says, Mayock fired? Wow. Yeah. Darth Vader says, problem is he doesn't have that $30 million yet. He's only been paid $1 million. Thank you. Joseph Amendola says, Steve Young said that dealing with people is an art form, and Mayock should have kept this a private situation. That's all I'm saying. See? All right? And much of what's going on is self-inflicted by the Raiders, in other words, by Mayock. Yes. Pedro Gallardo says, if Raiders have a winning season, AB and Mayock might coexist like Brady and Belichick. D. Brown says, if you fire Mayock, you make more of a monster. I didn't expect that from you. Oh, come on, D. You're always bringing up stuff that's basically racist, okay? And you say, and you're not black, all right? But the bottom line is, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You do not use your professional platform to take out your personal issues on players. And that's what Mike has done. All right? Yeah, I don't believe you. That's what he's done, okay? So at any rate, so Raider Gann says he did, and what the players think is because Mayock never wanted AB there. It was Gruden's choice. And I absolutely believe that. I really do. Because Gruden has had a line. Remember Martavis Bryant? Martavis is very similar to Brown. Brown's speed with the Steelers, playing a system that apparently has some elements that Jon Gruden, and I know, finds intriguing and wants to adopt and borrow, like certain screen pass approaches, okay? I know that. But the execution of this is such that Mike Mayock arguably provoked Antonio Brown. Chase says, you do not fight a GM, period. I would cut in a second. But the GM doesn't provoke the player either. Both are wrong. All right? You don't have that. Okay? You don't have that. And just to show you how I am, I remember when John Herrera confronted and yelled at Tim Kamakami in front of a bunch of reporters. And I got on the Chronicle, I said, dude, that's not how you handle people. Okay? I mean, he sat there, stood over Tim. Tim's a short guy. And John Herrera was a senior, Raiders senior executive, and just basically blasted him for something that he wrote. Well, Tim's got a right to his opinion. That's life. But to treat him that way, to take out your issues on the man, no. Herrera was straight out wrong. Herrera was not long after that, and for good reason. You don't do that, okay? As a true professional, you understand when to hold your emotions, fold your emotions, walk away and run. In other words, you want to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and then know when to run. All right? And if you don't know that, the NFL stands for not for long, and that's what Mayock is looking at. But the Raiders have to be concerned overall with how it seems like they have a hard time keeping star players. I mean, look, Khalil Mack, gone. Amari Cooper, gone, all right? All these stars, only Derek Carr remains, okay? Donald Penn, gone. I mean, you know, there's something going on. It's like if you're a veteran with a proud history with the Raiders, unless you fit a specific type like Rodney Hudson, who then got a richly deserved huge contract, all right, or Gabe, I mean, the numbers of people that fit into that is woefully small, all right? Okay? So, woefully small, all right? So here, Cowboy Wrestler says, Antonio Brown has a diva personality, but the Raiders knew that when they traded for Brown. At the end of the day, this one's on the Raiders, not AB. Yeah, they knew what they were getting. Chase says, you do not fight GM. I got that one out of the way. But she says, general managers not above reproach. Thank you. Raider Gann says, Cowboy, who knows who else is a diva? Brady? Yeah, Tom, what's a diva? There's nothing wrong with being a diva. So what? Just me, you know what? Every time I hear diva, I think good at what they do. Excuse me, the best. Excuse me, GOAT. Greatest of all time. They call Jerry Rice a diva. Okay? They called Terrell Owens a diva. He's wearing a Hall of Fame jacket. All right? So, diva. Big deal. And Chase says, how do you know Mayock provoked Brown? He has a huge history. No. That came specifically from written accounts on Twitter, statements on the NFL Network. That's how I got that from. And then it was confirmed, all right, by a private text I had with a friend who covers the league. And so, and that's all I'll say about who that is. So, no, that's why I said that Mayock rolled up. That's why I used the title. Mayock rolled up on him. I didn't do that without reason. I did that because I had information that said it. And I still, in my mind, don't want to believe that he was stupid enough to do something like that. But what it's coming off to me is that he was, okay? And so, all right. So, Bay Area says, could AB as soon as possible? Carr don't need this. She says, what does Reggie McKenzie have to do with anything? If Reggie were here, this would not have happened. Darth Vader says, can you explain how the confrontation went down? Yeah. As I understand it, Mike Mayock specifically went over during practice to express his displeasure with Brown about posting his letter that he wrote, private letter that he sent to Brown that was posted and made public. And so Mike is saying, hey, look, that's something that I sent to you. You're not supposed to do that. So again, he's rolling up on him and not understanding that he did that because he was pissed off about the action of the fines. Now, again, that's like backing a wounded animal into a corner and just kind of like poking, okay? Poking, all right? So, okay? So Darth Vader says, can you explain? I did. She says, the Reggie McKenzie era was horrible. I thought it was excellent. Darth Vader says, can you explain again how I did? Raider Gans says, the Reggie era brought us best players in 20 years and fixed our finances. Yeah, Raider Gans, I'm glad you said that. Because a lot of people don't know, and I'm really begging you to understand how to read NFL finances or sports finances and become interested in it. And the salary cap, the Raiders had over $150 million in dead money contracts. That means people that they brought in, paid a lot of money to, and then let go early before their contract was up, and they're still paying on the contract. Those are dead money contracts, okay? Reggie, after Mr. Davis' passing, was brought in specifically to straighten out a situation which was making the Raiders' already negative financial situation worse, okay? So Reggie did that. Reggie McKenzie did that. And look, I didn't like Reggie's action in firing Hugh Jackson either. And I said Reggie should be fired for that. But here's the thing. I had a personal conversation with Reggie. I went up to him and I said, hey, I have to explain this because as two brothers, I want you to understand where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to be offensive to you. But what I'm explaining is that as hard as it is for African Americans to get jobs like that and how much the world is against us more often than not, you have to side with your guy. Reggie told me something that is, when I tell you this, it's going to ring crystal clear. And I happen to agree with him on it. I understand why he did what he did. Reggie said, yeah, Zinni, I hear what you're saying to me, but you got to remember something. You got to like who you work with. Okay? Okay? There you go, all right? I howled. I was like, enough said, okay? I get it, all right? So, you know, there you go, all right? And that was that. That was that. But after that, I've always had respect for Reggie, because for one thing, Reggie will talk to you about what's on his mind. He's never come off as mean. If he doesn't like something you did that's against the organization, you'll have an idea that you didn't. He's a human being. I like Reggie McKenzie a lot. In fact, I'm really, to this day, sorry he's not around to clear up this situation. This would not have happened under Reggie McKenzie. Okay, it wouldn't have. Raider Gann says, my sources were there when it happened. Well, was one of them were. Raider Gann says, there's video probably somewhere. Che Guerrero says, what do you think will happen next with AB? Will he get suspended to use his guaranteed money? I don't know. I hope not. Here's the thing. Let's say that he does. If he gets suspended, you know he's not going to sit there and let that action happen. So what I think he'll do is file agreements with the NFL Players Association. And you know what? I think, given what I was told about how this happened, I think he would win that grievance. Okay? I think he would win that grievance. I will repeat that. I think he would win that grievance. Because if it is found and corroborated that Mayock, in some kind of way, rolled up on him, in other words, acted unprofessionally, that's all the out Antonio needs. And if it's seen on video as Mike approaching Antonio, game over, man. Game over, okay? So, there you go, Shade. She says, explain Dennis Allen. I don't understand that question. The dude says, Mayock is mostly focused on his rookies he selected. And since AB is, oh, if you're talking about Dennis Allen and with respect to why McKenzie hired him, well, okay, he hired him. But in the context of what we're talking about, I still don't get, oh, I get what you're saying. He wasn't the greatest hire. I agree with you, okay? I agree. I surrender. You're right. Okay, I get you. The dude says, I think Mayock is mostly focused on his rookies he selected, and since AB is a Gruden guy, and if the Raiders have a bad season, he can use AB as the example to go to bad season. You know, that's a rationale that could be used. I don't know that he actually planned it that way, but on the other hand, it kind of makes some maniacal sense. Eric the Laser, how you doing? Raider Gann says Dennis Allen was a budget coach. Ding. And meaning that goes back to the whole issue of the Raiders not having a lot of money. Dennis Allen was a budget coach. He was the best, cheapest guy you could get. Truth, okay? She says, okay, explain Tony Bergstrom. Explain your point. Cabrera says, Z, do you think Mike Mayock needs to be fired? Only if it is found that he rolled up on Antonio like that. Okay? I think there needs to be, if you're not going to fire him, there needs to be something publicly done to quell this. Maybe Mike and Antonio having a public saying, hey, you know what? We made a mistake, but we're all for one thing, that's winning. Just win, baby. Something like that, right? And putting an end to this. And that's, if I were the owner, that's what I would call for. You know what? You guys need to work this out. And the end game is you'll both make a public video that's kumbaya so we can go forward and stop this mess. That's what I would do. But if Mike doesn't want to do that, then, you know, we got to get another GM. So, Raider Gann says, comment of the day. Got it. And then Joseph Mendoza says, Mike's mistake is he wants to be Gruden. He can't stand not being in the limelight. He's insecure. And Pedro says, I hope Antonio Brown plays Monday. We brought him to play football. AB didn't go to Mayock's office looking for trouble. Plus, he was at practice, so his blood was pumping. Awesome point. Awesome point. Yeah, I mean, the guy's already hyped up. He's excited. He's working his tail off, and you're going to go and, you're going to go and hustle him like that? Shawn Watson says, what happened? Hey, Shawn, how are you? All right. How you doing? And so Mordecai says, cooler heads will prevail. Joseph Amadura says, can you suspend the GM? Yeah, you can suspend the GM. You could trade a GM. Sure. Why not? You can definitely do that. You really can. So my Twitter message is going up, and Tiki Barber is saying that, Jon Gruden's not putting up with any of this mess. Let me go back to Twitter and see what's happened here in the wake of all this stuff that is going down. And I see someone likes my tweets. I appreciate that. And somebody else likes my suggestion of teas, but I'll leave that off camera. And I will type simply JON. And if I type JON and, yeah, there it is. If I type JON in Twitter, I get Jon Gruden. And so Tiki Barber says that he wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders move on from Antonio Brown, but he doesn't think they will. I don't think they will either. And there's too much money on the table, okay? And there's just simply too much money on the table. I agree with Tiki. And someone says, Jon Gruden says, we want guys who want to be here. Well, Antonio wants to be there. It's really sad, this narrative where they say, oh, first of all, they do something, the Raiders, that pisses off Brown. So Brown gets mad, puts up a fit, and leaves. So then, all of a sudden, they say, we want to work with guys who want to be here. Well, you might want to try building working conditions that encourage a player to stay, right? Because I could turn that narrative around and say, well, why don't you act like you want them there, right? So, and you know what I mean? So, going back to your comments here, and Joseph says, can you suspend a GM? I answered that one. Raider Gannon says, this is why Hard Knocks was a bad idea. Yeah, you're really right, because that's the comment of the night. Because were it not for Hard Knocks, this Brown issue would not be magnified to the public view that it is. Because Hard Knocks runs around with these cameras, they point things at you, and you can see the outtakes. People are like, get out of here, don't point this camera at me. And they're picking up, news, and they're erring on the side of, hey, you know what? What's public? Unfortunately, think about it this way. What would have happened if Mike Mayock had not made the helmet issue public when Antonio didn't show up to practice? Okay? It would have been a really tiny little story that made Hard Knocks boring to watch, right? Instead, he didn't do that. He gave this press conference that basically was like striking the match in Mission Impossible, watching the fire go along, and then, right? That's what was done. But think about a scenario where that didn't happen. Think about Mike Mayock not saying anything. Think about the Raiders putting out a very short statement saying Antonio Brown is dealing with some personal issues. Because look, let's face it, the helmet issue was a personal one. All right? All right? Just say, hey, you know what? He's dealing with personal issues, and we look forward to supporting him when he gets back. He will, and then, no, don't fine him. If he's dealing with personal issues and you support him, don't fine him. That's an option. There's nothing in the rules. There's nothing that says you have to fine these or we're going to strike you with lightning. Just, don't fine him. Mike should have enough sense to know that sort of thing. Okay? But if you're such a stickler for things, it's like, you won't be flexible enough to see the right situation, okay? So, in Interzone says AB wants to be there to start trouble. No, he doesn't. Not for $30 million. He wants to be able to make money. That's stupid. The dude says if he really did roll up on AB, then it needs to be handled privately and set the lines on what's expected on both sides. Raiders always had character players. That's the Raider way. Okay, you come up, people leave you alone. You're an adult. That's it. You don't treat a person like AD like that. AB, excuse me. Big Willie says AB is like Yojo Cinco and Obens combined. But so what? They're both smart guys and great players. I mean, yeah. Hey, look. Ocho Cinco isn't, but Terrell Owens is a Hall of Famer, I remind you. Jersey Dolphin says, I thought the same thing, Z, when all this started about the helmet. Yeah, the helmet is a personal issue. Interzone comes up with another stupid comment. AB wants to look good with his helmet. Oh, brother. How about wearing a helmet that fits on your head comfortably? Big Willie says, but thank you for the comment nonetheless, okay? Big Willie says, Al is turning in his grave. I completely agree. Cheese says, as long as the football, as long as the Raiders beat the Broncos, I'm happy. Yeah, and the Broncos look beatable, okay? On defense, I don't know. Offense, you know, I'm thinking this. I'm asking this question. And someone ought to, I should have Scott on to answer this question. How long will Joe Flacco last the game, okay? Because then we'll see the backup from the Rams that never played it down for the Broncos. All right? You don't want to see that, but I'm saying that's the scenario they set up. It's not like, well, dude, if he goes down, you have Case Keenum behind you or anything like that. No. Or, you know, Drew Lock unfortunately got hurt. And Jay Gray says, why no show practices or warm-ups even if you can't participate? I believe he still needs to be there to support his team, but he has been, okay? And my point is, let him ease into the situation. Sure, you know, ideally you don't want that. You don't want a place where you have to make adjustments like that. But I'm telling you, in today's age, you've got a lot of people in Antonio's generation who are like that. I mean, I don't want to name names, just I brought in, and I haven't heard from this person to do business development. I don't know why. We never had a direct meeting. I'm here. That person's in the Bay Area. And that person had another job and personal issues they're dealing with, but they didn't call to say, hey, here's what's going on. What the Raiders are dealing with happens in society all the time. So as a person who manages the business, you can either get fixated on a situation that's nonsensical, or you can move forward. I moved forward. I have a business to run. Okay? I have a business to run. So that's the way that is. The dude says, I always see you in clips here and there and always like what you had to say, and you're taking the time to do this. I'm subscribing and clicking that bell. Thank you, the dude. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Shawn Watson says, AB is excited to be a Raider. I think the Raiders are messing things up. Shawn, I agree with you. Raider Gann says, I'm still trying to figure out if Mayock approached AB while his kids were at the practice. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. In other words, embarrassing him in front of his kids. Oh man, I'll check on that one. Find out. I'll find out too. I'll check on that. Oh my Lord. Interzone says Ben Roethlisberger was right all along. About what? Leonard Sally says, did Mayock and Gruden know exactly what they were dealing with, or maybe they didn't know how to handle Antonio Brown? I think the problem with Mike is that Mike does not understand or have an appreciation for how to work with black athletes, okay? And he hasn't had that. He hasn't had to. Okay, remember, he came in literally from off the street, being on television, having these opinions. Remember, he said about Cam Newton, oh, hey, he doesn't have a heart. He said that about Cam as he was coming to the NFL draft because he was trying to downgrade him, all right? So Mike Mayock has had, what, 2 decades to hone attitudes about players that probably wouldn't work well in an NFL work environment. And guess what? Now he's in an NFL work environment, all right? So, okay. So, and let's see here. So there you go, Lynn. And Joseph says, it seems like every GM has a mentor or someone in their ear. I wonder who has his ear, Mayock's ear. And then Raider Gannon says, Ben, he's somewhere, he's somehow still free. Talking about Roethlisberger. Landlord 84. Those who think what AB is not at fault are the same people who hated TO. It doesn't make any sense as a statement. Interzone says about Antonio Brown. It sounds like Interzone and Landlord 84 are the same people. And Landlord 84, it is a racial issue. So stop. She says Monday Night Football better have AB. And Jersey Dolphin says Kirchi. No, this is definitely a racial issue. It's an institutional racial issue. Okay? And the one thing you need to figure out about life, if you are as young as I think you are, is simply that everybody looks at things in terms of race. You look at it positively or negatively. If you have a background, look, you're Irish, you're a Celtic dancer, I'm interested in Celtic dancing, right? That's an ethnic racial thing, but it's positive, okay? On the other hand, there are negative people who deal with this as negative because they don't like somebody because they don't understand their walk or they won't hear their walk. That's negative. It's all a racial issue. We're all different people. We grew up in different ways, different backgrounds. People react to me a certain way versus somebody else. You go down the street, you have assumptions about how a person is going to be based on how they look. You can't help it, all right? The best you can do is to assume the positive, and that's what you should always do. Assume the positive and not the negative. But it's always that way, okay? At all. I mean, always, all right? So, Cabrera says, I'm feeling worse. The decision will be made tonight. Landlord says, really, there are other black players on the team who aren't getting treated like AB, who are not as good as AB. And that's my point. You just came in. So I don't want to rehash that. But if you don't understand that someone with special talent is treated differently, then you know what? You and I have nothing to talk about. Jersey Dolphin says, I think Gruden's going to fix this over some late dinner tonight. Hopefully. And do I think T.O. is a team killer? I think that's a stupid comment. Interzone says, AB is the new T.O., and that's another stupid comment, leading me to think that Landlord and Interzone are the same person. But, you know, that's because it sounds like they are. I mean, you know, you notice how one comment, in fact, you know what? I might block you, Interzone, because you write one thing as one person and then one thing as another, and they're one right after the other. And you might want to knock that off, okay? That's not a cool thing. So my point is, or you know what? Write what you want. I'll just ignore your comment. I just won't read it. How about that? So anyway, Tom Vale says the majority of black athletes can walk and chew gum at the same time. In addition, can't speak proper English? What are you talking about? Tom, that's racist. You want to rewrite that? So, Shawn Watson says, who? King Roy says, I believe we'll fix this, okay? The dude says, wow. Yeah, Tom Vale's comment, that's racist. All right, that's straight up racist. Tom Vale, this dude's a racist. Now, okay, should I block this guy forever? I'm going to leave that to the flock. I'm going to handle this. I'm going to leave that to the team. You think I should block this guy forever? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, a yes or a no. Drops, edits, records, says AB will play on Monday. All this is hype. Ninja. Too late. Tom Vale was timed out. Bingo. Ban. Yep. So, okay. Yep. So there you go. Enough. Tom Vale, you be out, boy. I'm sorry. You're gone. All right. Tom Vale is gone. Tom, you've seen. You've pissed off the folk, all right, and that's just the way it is, man. Just the way it is, okay. So all right, let me go back here. Radio says, why not answer landlord's questions dealing with the subject? Because I think it's stupid. All right, Raider, let me put it this way. It is stupid. All right? If you want to follow up on that, you're going to be stupid too, okay? And I did ask the question. It's stupid. Okay, cool. All right. So Raider Gan says, yeah. Hey, moderators, where you at? Where my moderators at? Raider Gan says, most black athletes are college-educated business owners. Truth. Guarp says, Raiders, once again, the Raiders will be trashed. This team will never figure it out. I hope you're wrong. I certainly hope so. Shawn Watson said, if they piss you off, I get rid of them. Well, sometimes I keep some people in because it's fun to see the comedy of the stupidity of some areas of society, right? So you kind of like want to keep them on for comic relief, and then after a while, you just sort of get rid of them. But you know, seriously, because a person who writes that note, they don't use their real name. Well, maybe that Tom Vale thing is that's a weird one. Eddie Cash says, we're here talking about AB. Yes, we are. And I think Antonio Brown is a fantastic player. Fantastic. And, but Eddie Castro, do you live in Castro Valley by chance? Is that why you call yourself Eddie Castro? Just kidding. Okay. You were in Castro Valley. Interesting. And Kyle Curtis says, boomerang. Interesting. Boring. Well, hey, you know what? Bye. Go away. Bye. Bye. All right. Bye. If you think it's boring, why are you here? Bye. Bye. If you think it's boring, why are you here? Bye. I think you're boring. Boring. Bay Area hit the dude. Bay Area hit the dude. How you doing, man? All right, it is now, let's see here. It's 1 hour before Serena Williams plays. Okay. Jersey Dolphins says, go get him, Z. Thank you. And so, Interzone says, AB is egotistical, Hulk Hogan, mustache goof. He is a bad influence to all the black athletes. The black athletes would disagree with you. I'm not going to ban a person for having a different view. As stupid as I think that view is, that's a stupid one. Bud Smoker says he's got mental issues. He needs a CAT scan done in his brain before he's allowed to play another snap. Mordecai says, do you think AB should have posted that letter on Instagram? No, I don't. I don't think he should have. But on the other hand, he did. And but the other question is, should I, as GM, have told him not to? And to be frank, what he did never occurred to me as being inappropriate. Okay? It occurred to me as, hey, this guy is upset and he needs to be worked with. All right? It wasn't like he posted Mayock's private information on, because I've had that done. Okay? Then that's grounds for rolling up on somebody. I've had that done. Okay? Where someone thought they were posting my personal information. I had broomed that fast. And this is a person who is an NFL reporter. Okay? And I could have had their access and their Twitter account taken away from them like that. So it's a difference. All right? So Joseph said, I really hope the whole team, Pedro says, they're pulling your chain. I know. And fun stuff. Joseph says, I really hope the whole team rallies for AB, sending Mike Mayock a message. Cowboy wrestlers back to normal. Nico says, I think they should both have kept it professional. That's one of the top 5 comments I've seen today. All right. So, hey, folks, Serena Williams plays in an hour. The NFL kickoff events are already underway in Chicago, and the game starts in around 2 hours. Shawn Watson, thank you for the investment. So thanks. So thanks, Shawn. It's very, very, very kind of you to do that. Oh, Khalil, man. Khalil. Oh, for that. Khalil should be a Raider. He will, yeah. And Leonard, yes, that's please all play for the people in the Bahamas. Absolutely. And also, you know, Kylie Ray Harris died, country singer, in a car accident. But please, let's play for people in Bahamas. In fact, a moment of silence for the people in the Bahamas. All right, everybody. Thanks. Drop says, do you think if we're going to find out if he's going to play Monday Night Football today? Well, it's Thursday, so you know what? I would think we should. I don't know if we will, but we should. And not only that, you know, John's got to make a decision now because he's got a game plan to adjust. Okay? Hey, thanks for the investment, Raider Gans. Thank you. And Raider Gans, would you please send me an email with your name so I know where to, you know, put you in the shares and everything? All right. Okay, folks. Shawn Watson says, you're a good man. I love your work. Hey, thanks, man. That made my day. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. It's been a lot of fun, and it really has. Joseph Amendur says, has anyone heard from Drew Rosenhaus? Ah, great question. No, Hey, by the way, Joseph, when are we going to see your live stream, man? What are you waiting for? It reminds me of who said that? That was in James. What is it? The James Bond film that starred Timothy Dalton as James Bond. What are you waiting for, Bond? What are you waiting for? What was that film? So, you know, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. No, that was George Lazenby. So this one would have to have been License to Kill. That's the one. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, Joseph Amendur, I can do one. I didn't know if I should clear it with you first. No, don't clear it with me. Just do it, man. Just do it. Now, if you want me to be there to critique or, you know, help gin up the audience so you have an audience, that's a different story. Absolutely. If you have an idea for a title you want to run by me, let me know. But no, you can go anytime you want to. Just remind you, I'm 3 hours ahead of you. If it's during the night when I'm asleep, I won't be up to hear it. Oh, and by the way, yeah, so that's about it, all right? Okay, folks, I'll see you later. Thanks.